Well, this afternoon, member states of the Economic Community of West African States are in a crunch meeting deciding on the collective response to the Guinea political crisis following the toppling of the elected president Alpha Condé. The military ceasefire in Guinea on Sunday, 5th September 2021, and arrested the third-term president of Guinea, Alpha Condé. The military junta subsequently suspended the constitution and promised to return Guinea to constitutional rule in the shortest possible time. Opening a virtual conference of heads of state in the sub-region, President ECOWAS, who chairs the bloc, described the development in Guinea as regrettable and unfortunate. He said the military takeover violates ECOWAS protocol on good governance. Our correspondent Elton Brobe is stationed there for us. He'll be joining us very soon with more on this one. But let's start a conversation with Dr. Wayne Charles Coker. He's a critical communication theorist at the Department of Communication Studies at the University of Cape Coast. Dr. Coker, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you and your cherished listeners.
Great.
And viewers as well.
The situation in Guinea makes it true in West Africa. We know what happened in Mali, within in the space of a year. We're told that there's been blame game around the parts of the country, blaming ECOWAS, blaming other sub-regional bodies, but also more importantly, experts say we should expect more of this. Who is next? We do not know. But how does all of these come to you?
Thank you, Aisha. I think that we are faced with a certain observer's paradox. We are not happy about the military toppling the government of the president, and yet we also need to understand that conditions under which the massive Guinean people are calls into question the quality of governance in Guinea, and so we are still we need to critique the paradox we find ourselves in. What I would like us to avert our minds to is what kind of strategy will ECOWAS adopt, even as they move into solving the Guinean crisis.
Now, let's talk about the blame game, ECOWAS, other UN, AU. Thankfully, there's a meeting this afternoon by ECOWAS, but who would you blame for this situation?
Good. And so I am not going to put the blame on any other person, but on the president to understand the will of the people in the first place. And so this calls into question, yes, once again, the quality of governance set in motion by the Guinean apparatus. We need to understand that the times have changed. And so a certain president cannot undo the will of the people that is enshrined in the Constitution. That is what we need to understand. So Alpha Condé had no business subverting the will of the people and trying to make himself comfortable while in government, at the same time making the suffering Guinean people go through all the things they've been going through. It's about time that that apparatus, the machinery of governance, the constitution that runs the states in Mali, in many West African countries, and in Africa most especially, needs to be revisited. It is not possible to keep an apparatus, a machine that appears to be supporting the presidency at the expense of the people that it must serve. Governments and leaders in Africa must understand that it is not about rulership, it's about service to the people. If we understand the framework to be changing in that direction, there will be peace. It is interesting that the chairman of ECOWAS, our own president, Nana Akufo-Addo, understands good governance to mean that so long as the constitution is allowed to work in the interest of the presidency, there is peace. But we need to critique and deconstruct what is the quality of the nature of governance in Guinea, to be specific. Are people themselves happy? Should there be if we should have Alpha Condé back on the seat, will the Malian people be happy? I think there are fundamental questions that need to be answered That is why we need to critique the level and the quality of constitution and governance operating in many African states. So I put the blame on the president himself.
What would it take to prevent a recurrence in the sub-region going forward?
Good. So first and foremost, we need to understand that there has not been a journey in the first place. We need to understand that we have not started a journey in the first place. Post-independence, it's been 60 plus years since Africa experimented with democracy. And I don't believe that we are making any giant strides because we are operating a post-colonial state. We have inherited structures that do not inure to our good. And so if leaders who come together to create communities believe that if they should be doing a checklist of all the things that make nation state governable, that will inure to their benefit, but that may not bring a qualitative change and development in the lives of the people they have sworn to serve. So we need to come back to the drawing board and say, what is it that the youth, what is it that the people of different countries in Africa are calling for? What changes must we engender or must we engineer to bring about qualitative development? Until we ask those questions, Aisha, we will be moving in cycles or in circles because it is not good. Now, in the advent of social media, there always will be a resistance and challenge to whatever is going on in African countries.
So I'm more interested in the root causes of these coups d'etats in Africa. Aside understanding what the youth want, what else would you identify or describe as the root causes, for which we should tackle in order to prevent some of these things?
Good. So one of the main causes is inertia. With the passing of time, it appears to me that what I call ex-generation presidents in Africa seem to forget what governance and true leadership is all about. Governance and true leadership within the context of post-colonial Africa is to bring relief to the suffering people of Africa. Remember that the forces of post-colonialism are still in play. And so it will be completely difficult to wipe them out of the system. So one, inertia set in. Two, the people have lost touch with reality. They always need to consult with the grassroots, the people they are serving. Not until that is done, there always will be difficulties with the way African governments and African states are running their countries.
Thankfully, ECOWAS is meeting this afternoon in an emergency meeting. What is happening in Guinea, the world is watching, everybody is watching. We're taking cue from how this will be resolved. What will be your expectation of this emergency meeting being chaired by our own president, Nana Akufo-Addo?
Good, thank you. So I expect them to have a very clearly mapped out diplomatic offensive. And by diplomatic offensive, I mean they should have a clear set of strategies that they would like to adopt to resolve the crisis. They should not, as a matter of urgency, think that the solution resides only in them. I think that they should invite the other opposing factions. They should invite Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya and his team on board, and they should invite technocrats on board to find out how best to resolve the issue. It is going to be a complex issue because whether it goes in the favor of the toppled president or whether it goes in the favor of Colonel Doumbouya and his team, that is not the resolution. That cannot be the solution. The solution is to find out what strategy best for Guinea. Mind you, from 2008 till now, there have been series of series of data in Guinea. And so the solution must be, it must be consultative enough, it must be communitarian enough, it must be youth-focused, it must focus on the grassroots and chart a path of development for the Guinean people.
Let me bring in my colleague Elton Brobe, who's monitoring this extraordinary emergency meeting of ECOWAS for us. Elton, what more can you tell us about this meeting?
Right, so Asha, the opening ceremony ended a few minutes ago. It was even done virtually. So even for the media, few people had the opportunity to be in the president's conference room. So the president connected with his colleagues, members representing heads of state of ECOWAS via video. And the whole opening ceremony lasted just 3 minutes because the agenda, according to President Akufo-Addo, was very much known to all the member states participated. So,
hello, Elton. Okay, looks like we're losing Elton Brobe there, but certainly he says the meeting has just ended. And of course, Dr. Coker has been outlining the things that he would expect the chairman, who is our own president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his colleagues to talk about to fix the challenge in Guinea. Dr. Coker, let me bring you back. I mean, from now till the next few days, I mean, ideally, what should be the situation in Guinea?
Aisha, sorry, would you like to repeat that question?
So I'm saying that the meeting has ended. We're hoping to hear what has transpired between the heads of states. But from now, between now and the next few days, what should be the ideal situation you want to see in Guinea?
So what I would like to see in Guinea is a confidence of the restoration of governance. What President Alpha Condé was not in the collective interest of the people of Guinea. And so quickly restoring confidence by way of ensuring that salaries of workers, for example, are restored to normalcies will be the very first step to take. And also sending the right signal that the constitution that used to be would be reinstalled, for example, will be the next step. I think that what triggered the crisis was an economic one. And so if that which ought to be done to restore confidence in the Guinean governance structure is restored, that would be a step in the right direction. And then also, like I said earlier, ensuring that the two-term constitution that used to be before it was revised is away and restored by the old or previous constitution.
Dr. Winford Charles Cook, I'm grateful for your time. He's a critical communication theorist at the Department of Communication Studies at the University of Cape Coast. My colleague Elton Brobe is back on the line. Elton, tell me more about this extraordinary summit.
Right, Aisha, I'm sure now you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear.
Right, so Aisha, I was talking about the fact that the opening ceremony itself lasted just 5 minutes, and it took place in the president's conference room. So he connected with his colleague heads of state on the ECOWAS organization via video. Now, he was quite clear that the developments in Guinea is a violation of ECOWAS' own protocol on good governance. He described it as regrettable and unfortunate, and then called on member states to contribute to the discussion to fashion out a direct response to the issues happening in Guinea. I'm talking about the political crisis. Now, what is different today is I remember when Mali went through the same, process, and then when ECOWAS convened here in Accra, they invited the coup leaders to come and justify their action. This time, what is unclear is whether or not the colonel who has toppled Alpha Condé will have the opportunity to speak. I've been speaking to the president's advisor on ECOWAS, and he tells me that they will join via video to also explain their action. As it relates to Mali, they have up to November to return the country to constitutional rule. Now, what I'm thinking is that ECOWAS, by their own protocols, will first suspend Guinea from all ECOWAS activities, and they'll give them time within which to comply with some demands that they will be making after this particular meeting. Now, if they're unable to meet the demand, the next step, according to the president advisor on ECOWAS, is that ECOWAS will move to block borders with countries that share border with Guinea, so that there will be no movement, there will be no trading between Guinea and other ECOWAS countries that share border with it. And these are, according to the advisor on ECOWAS, are some of the tools available to ECOWAS to force the military junta in Mali, in Guinea, to return the country immediately to constitutional rule and further release unharmed the ousted president, who, according to the military officers, is being held and he's not being tortured or he's not being harmed. They will demand that he is released, and if he needs medical attention, that is also granted him. So these are what my sources are telling me are likely outcome of this extraordinary meeting that is currently being done virtually at the behest of President Akufo-Addo.
Now, the root cause of all of these are critical issues that experts want addressed. If we want to put this to an end and not see a recurrence, I mean, some of them addressing challenges facing the youth, the economy, for instance, in Guinea. Are these issues that came up at the meeting?
Well, so the meeting, President Akufo-Addo was the only person who had the opportunity to speak to his colleague, heads of state, representing ECOWAS. I'm told that Ghana's foreign minister is a member or a chairperson of a group that has been tasked to understand the situation in Mali and then report to ECOWAS on the way forward. Remember, Goodluck Jonathan is doing the same thing in Mali. So Ghana's foreign minister has been tasked to lead a team to understand what is happening, report to ECOWAS, and then ECOWAS will take a decision on it. Now, her initial report will be part of what it will be discussing this afternoon virtually, and then all put together will form the basis upon which they will come to a major decision regarding Guinea. But what I've been told is that as a
Elton Brobe is my colleague at the presidency monitoring events for us. He made the point clear that these are issues that would be addressed, hopefully, by the end of that meeting.